Chiefs have selected George Karlaftis. Big George! Here we go!
I am so beyond excited that Josh Simmons getting a crack at left tackle.
It's really hard to win the AFC Championship.
Is it?
Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank member FDIC, our incredible partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. I am thrilled to be hanging out with my two dear friends on this Wednesday night. It is Craig Stout. It is Maddie Lane. Maddie, how are we doing?
You know, we're doing pretty good. We're fighting through a little bit of a cold, as is life during the spring here, but we're making do. We're driving forward. We're living on the edge of our seat with free agency and the Chiefs activity here. And honestly, I'm happy. We're all back together. It's been a little bit now. It's been a few weeks since we've all been back here together. I am glad that the three bestest friends of all time, with everybody incredibly equal, are all back together.
You're just doing that because Kent actually listened to the podcast where you said that. Yeah.
No, that's not true, Craig. If you want to listen to the podcast, you know I'm being nice to Kent from now on.
Oh,
It lasted 20 minutes.
I have not listened to a podcast. I have not listened to any breaking news. This has been a very, very busy week for me. So I am very excited to get and talk some football with my pals, share my free agency thoughts that have not been shared on any of the breaking news teams that you fine gentlemen and Tucker D. Franklin in the brand new Blazer have been handling with aplomb so far. So I am very excited to get into it and get football.
Mars won't civilize itself. You've been busy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I did listen to the show. I needed all kinds of. I really wanted to listen to the Trent McDuffie takes, so I listened to a lot of the breaking news team. Had my heart broken about those comments. I just felt the most left out that I ever have been when I listened to the lab after I listened to the breaking news team. It was. I want
to be clear here. Kent did not leave with "my heart is broken." Kent led with, "I liked this take that you guys had about this particular football thing that was about 20 minutes in," and both Maddie and I went, "Oh, Kent listened to the podcast."
There was some good takes on that. You know, it stung for me
Maddie.
to be a whole week removed from it, just not getting to say anything. Because I wrote an article today that's like, there's no point in talking about Trent right now. Too much has happened since. It is cool though. The Chiefs draft involving a first round pick actually went through.
Yeah.
So that was cool to have happen today. The news is official that Trent McDuffie is a Los Angeles Ram on a deal that the Chiefs I don't think we're touching. So congratulations to two-time Super Bowl champion Trent McDuffie and all the other teammates from the 22 draft class that are getting the absolute bag right now in free agency, primarily from the Washington Redskins.
Whoa!
And the Rams.
Whoa!
Oh, I did it again!
One
did it
cruise,
again!
this guy comes back just like this. Unbelievable.
I did it again!
You guys left in Florida.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
I did do that.
He did.
South Beach.
It
Miami.
shows, buddy. It shows. Unlike the Baltimore Ravens, I can legitimately say that I want both of you on my football team and not be lying and trying to go back on a deal here. Not be saying, "Oh yeah, Hendrickson and Maxx Crosby." Yeah, we were trying to get both of them at the same time. No, you were. I hope the Ravens just absolutely get taken to the woodshed. Maxx Crosby has to go up against them at some point over the next few years of his career and absolutely destroys Lamar for doing him dirty like that. Don't care about the Raiders, by the way. Absolutely do not care about the Raiders' feelings here, but that really sucks for Maxx Crosby.
I wonder how big of a package do you think the Chiefs would have to give up for the Raiders to take it for Maxx Crosby?
The lit does not exist.
It'd have to be like the 9th pick.
Mm.
I don't know if it'll be that stingy. It sounds like okay, so I guess it comes down to this, right? Like, what are the other offers? The Chiefs have to clearly beat the other offer, and it has to be by something that matters. Like, whatever the second best offer is, the Chiefs have to come in above it. But like, it sounds like Maxx Crosby wants nothing to do with the Raiders either, right? Like, he's pretty much done with everything that they have going on. So what if somebody's offering, let's just ballpark this, a second round pick? Do the Chiefs really have to offer pick 9 to have them take a first round pick over the second? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just have to clearly beat the other offer, because I don't think there's any chance they hold on to Maxx Crosby. Now, it won't happen either. I'll be very clear. A team is going to offer up enough that they would take the offer over the Chiefs anyway. I just don't know if it's like a completely untouchable amount, the way that he said he is completely done with them.
They're still getting a first. They're still getting a first from Maxx Crosby.
Oh, they can have pick 29.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I would love to give up pick 29 for Maxx Crosby. I don't care about that knee.
Especially now. Oh man, he'll do anything it takes right now. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Gets to play the Raiders twice a year. Probably gets to see the Ravens pretty frequently. Buddy, I tell you what.
I wonder if the Washington Commanders would be interested in trading.
You landed it, buddy. Great work.
We haven't heard from Craig Stout since the new league year began, since legal tampering began, and this isn't quite 7 minutes with Craig. I don't think we're rolling with the music today, but we at least got to hear some of the thoughts of one Craig Stout on what's happened here over the last 3 days. A very, very busy few days here for the Kansas City Chiefs and teams acquiring their players. So, Craig, the floor is yours.
Yeah. I mean, we got to lead with the biggest news, the marquee name, the entire reason. I mean, we've been talking about it this entire offseason so far. Kansas City Chiefs come out in day one of legal tampering and sign Khyiris Tonga, nose tackle from the New England Patriots. That's right. I mean, I'm leading with my favorite one of these so far. I think this is a great move. And fullback. The Chiefs have been trying to piece together nose tackle for quite some time. This feels like maybe a little bit of an overcorrection from a salary standpoint, although we haven't seen the full structure of it yet. We'll see. Maybe it's an inflated year 3 or something like that in this. They needed a guy that could plug the middle of the field, play a little bit on passing down. So it's not going to say that he's going to come out there and rush the passer very well, but has enough competency as a pass rusher that if you go up against a team that's going to base, out of 12 personnel and try and throw on early downs, Tonga's not going to be the worst nose tackle out there. I think this only helps guys like Drew Tranquill, still on the team right now, and Nick Bolton out there at the second level. We've seen these linebackers, especially Nick Bolton, his forte has never been stack and shed. This is not a Nick Bolton, derogatory thing where we're going to run him down. It's just never been his thing. He's always been a block slipper. He's always been a guy that does really well reading where the ball is going to go and, kind of taking that first step downhill, hitting the gap right, and being able to bring the running back down in the backfield. He hasn't had that same ability to do that over the past couple of years because the nose tackle play has not been consistent enough. He's had guys climbing to the second level. There are very few guys in this league anymore with how athletic and big interior offensive linemen are and how much smaller linebackers are getting. You just don't have that stack and shed ability like you did years and years and years ago. This will only help the defense. Obviously, the biggest news of day one is Kenneth Walker. Lots of talk about how, I can't believe the Chiefs spent this amount of money on him. That's $1 million a year more than Travis Etienne in full contract value, not guarantees. Some of these running back contracts are wonky. If you would have told me that the Chiefs are going to pay Kenneth Walker twice as much as Kenneth Gainwell in free agency, I would have been very okay with that. But I would not have guessed that Kenneth Gainwell was going to get $7 million a year. So There's a lot of weird running back contracts this year, but I see everybody is kind of out there talking about efficiency, and Kenneth Walker's not the most efficient runner and all of that. He's not. Everybody is right about it. But what has efficiency gotten the Chiefs over the past couple of years? The Chiefs had the most efficient running game in the league 2 years ago, and it was the third least explosive run game in the modern NFL history. Like, this is not a thing that we should be aspiring to. You shouldn't be aspiring to bunts all game long. You should be trying to get a little more juice in your backfield, trying to develop guys that can take it to the house. Kenneth Walker is that kind of guy. He is the type of guy that can take an offense, a running game that was dead last in the history of the modern NFL and explosive plays and add a little bit more there. He is also the exact kind of guy that Eric Bieniemy is going to love. If you have seen anything after, Seattle won the Super Bowl, everybody wants to put microphones in his face, get him to say things, get him to be the guy, get him to really kind of tout himself, and he doesn't want to. He just wants to show up, play football, doesn't want to party, doesn't want any of the off-field, just wants to do his thing. Eric Bieniemy has to be sitting in the building right now going, hey, first of all, awesome, we got a bald guy in here. I'm not the only one. And B, he's going to show up ready to work, and he's going to work his ass off. We saw what Eric Bieniemy was able to do with DeAndre Swift last year. This is a guy that is a more explosive runner than Swift. We can see maybe the fruits of that labor come about because of this. Other guys that we've seen here, Alohi Gilman, I love that one. I like it a lot. I think that is a very good depth safety signing. I know that he's going to play a lot of snaps for this team, but I call it a depth safety signing because it's not going to prevent you from going out and finding other starters. If you draft a couple of kids and they come in and they look really good, you did not spend so much on a safety that you feel like, oh, that guy being our third safety, well, that kind of sucks now that we spent all that money on him. No, I think he's a good vet in the room. Very versatile, is not going to be the high end of a free safety or the high end of a box safety, but is going to be able to play both. And I think that is something the Chiefs desperately have needed for the last year, certainly. But even some of the early Justin Reed years where they were a little more rigid, it was not fun to watch the Chiefs secondary. And then obviously bringing back Tyquan Thornton does not prevent you from signing any wide receiver. He's another guy in the room, and hand him over to Chad O'Shea. And just see. I mean, at this point, it's a good gamble. It's a worthy gamble for that amount of money. I liked so far what they have done with all of those signings. And obviously, bringing back Travis Kelce, that was one that we expected. I have so many questions about the secondary right now. The Chiefs let their entire secondary essentially walk out the door, and that is scary to me. So, I mean, that's really all I have. If we want to just springboard off of that, who's left? Because right now,
I got questions.
Okay, go for it. Go. Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on, I just for both of you guys too. I'm going to preface this. I'm going to ask this in a very leading way because I got a plan here. Okay. This offseason was set up to be Brett Veach's. This is his biggest offseason yet. This is where he has to turn everything around. This is where he has to set the foundation to rebuild this team, yada, yada, yada. That's what it is. The Chiefs came into free agency, spent a lot of money on a 2-down running back, a nose tackle, a safety, a versatile safety, and didn't do really anything else. How do you feel about the free agency? How do you feel about that as the start to the biggest offseason of Brett Veach's setting this team up for its second run tenure, not addressing any positions of real value, like the valuable positions? They went out and spit at the lowest value positions. And I think Kenneth Walker's great. I like all these moves in a vacuum. I think every single one of these signings is a B or higher. So I do not dislike any of them, but the overall plan right now, how do you feel like this free agency has, like this offseason has started off?
You also forgot the number one receiving option on this team that they signed back as a $15
They did bring back an tight end as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct. But yeah. I'm curious. How do you feel it started?
I think you need to include the Trent McDuffie trade. And if you were talking about a transformation of the roster, I think adding significant draft capital into the mix to get younger, at key positions, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit.
It's coming up.
The stage has certainly been set for them to make some big waves here this year, next year. You know, we've always pinned this as such a big offseason, and it is. It's a massive offseason for this team, and it is definitely setting them up for Patrick Mahomes' 30s. I do understand, you know, looking at all of these moves and saying, okay, 2 down nose tackle running back that doesn't play on third downs, even though he's the highest paid running back in the class, and then a safety to replace the safety that you lost, who got paid more. I understand all that. Let them cook for a little bit. We'll see where things land. I think it's a good start for the players they got, and they got them all on multi-year deals. And then the trade of Trent McDuffie, I think, it's an unrealized piece of a significant change to this roster. And it's just, you're sitting here March 11 and it just hasn't happened yet. But what does it look like when you've got that extra draft capital? What does it look like for 2027 when you have an extra top 100 selection too?
I mean, I love the point of this being multi-year contracts. I think that's the part that's helped with this a lot. I think in a vacuum of all these moves were shorter term or older players or things like that, and not that Gilman is super young, but you know, it's also not a beyond the pale contract that you're talking about from the safety position. I like the moves in a vacuum, like you said, Maddie. I think all of these are valuable moves and positions of need. It's not like they're going out here and saying, well, we're going to add a few interior offensive linemen to the equation here and pay extra money. You know, they didn't go out and spend some of this money unreasonably. I think where my mind went after the Trent McDuffie trade kind of settled, seeing $31 million for Trent McDuffie. By the way, I mentioned last one, man, I'm so happy you got the bag. That's awesome. Like, being the highest paid corner in the league for Trent McDuffie is incredible. Chiefs shouldn't have done that. Chiefs shouldn't have done that given the moves that they are making right now. This feels like they are not, and I'm going to say this and it's going to sound like this is going to be a multi-year thing or anything like that. It feels like the first or the bleeding edge of a rebuild. Yeah, it's a rebuild. It feels like a little bit of a rebuild, and that's okay. Like, it's going to have to happen during Patrick Mahomes' career. The last time we thought this was going to be a rebuild was 2022. They smashed it out of the park in the draft. It didn't end up being the rebuild that we all thought it was going to be. We had a historic, draft class that came out of that. We should not expect that. We should expect that they're going to find contributors in the draft. They're going to find some guys like a Tonga, that they're going to find some guys like a Kenneth Walker that they can build around for the next 3 or 4 years. And you can just build off of that with draft picks, with other capital. You can get out of some contracts that were bigger contracts that were why you were trying to, three-peat, which was not necessarily a bad move for the Chiefs to do. They went to a 3rd straight Super Bowl. It just feels like maybe this is the first part of a rebuild here that may not completely formulate until next year, or, God forbid, the year after. I would not want to waste multiple years of Patrick Mahomes' prime here, but it does feel like they are making some necessary moves that would signify that this is the start. We're hitting the button. Yeah. We are going to try and rebuild, like Kent said, for the Mahomes 30s.
And I want to make more Chiefs fans mad, because people are going to take this entirely as me not liking the moves. And it's just, I'm still just trying to wrap my head around what the plan is. And people keep saying, I think people are going to say, oh, there's plenty of time left. Free agency just started. I don't know. We're going to talk about who's available here in a little bit. There's not a lot left. There's not a lot that moves the needle left. People say this every year. You can pick out one player every year that signs after, the first week of free agency that matters. It's not like it's common. Okay. So there's players that can be signed, but you're not getting impact players. And there's still a chance that things get moved around. I understand that. I'm just kind of looking at the totality of it right now. And this to me screams multi-year. This screams, we don't know how good we're going to be this year. Because even at the pieces that we are excited about, the Kenneth Walker piece, okay, he's good at running from under center. The Chiefs don't have a tight end that can block. Are they really going to go under center? They still have Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. He's significantly worse running out of shotgun. So your big free agency signing, your big adjustment to your offense is getting a guy that runs better. but he does so from under center, not from the shotgun, and you don't have the personnel to run from under center very well. And again, it's early. There's still blocking tight ends available. You have the draft. I understand you can address this. It just seems like a very incomplete start of a plan right now, or even the flip side. We're talking about, hey, we're moving on from Trent McDuffie and getting younger, and we're getting a nose tackle to stop the run. How are you stopping the pass? Because right now you can't rush the passer or cover, right? Like it seems very incomplete. I get what you guys are saying, and I don't disagree. This signals to me, I think it might be a lot bigger of a rebuild, not so much like we're just retooling. This doesn't feel like 2022, right? It feels different.
I think the roster was in different places, right? In 2022 than 20.
The best players were younger.
Best players were younger.
For sure.
And I don't know, like we can talk about in a vacuum, like how many moves are you really for a long-term rebuild or a retooling of this roster for short and long-term? How many players are you really upset the Chiefs weren't in on? You know, like looking at free agency, like I don't think there's a ton of moves right now that
People are mad at that edge class and what they got paid. Hey guys, that's just what edges are going to get paid from here on out. Like you can't be mad. Like that's just what it is. Like you can't be mad. I keep getting people on Twitter. Which edge do you wish the Chiefs paid that amount of money? I'm like, well, do I love the amount of money that they got? No. But do I think it's going to be any different next year? No. Like that's what your rotational edges are getting paid from here on out. So like I don't buy that excuse of like who would you have rather had? Now there's other moves to come. There's other moves to come.
There's got to be.
Curious. I was curious as what your guys' thoughts were.
I think the
that one's true. Bradley Chubb to get overpaid.
You got vastly overpaid.
The Bills' time-honored tradition of overpaying an old washed defensive end a lot of money. It is just enjoyable to watch. I do think there's a plan, and I see it. Like I think the plan was low positional value moves in free agency, multi-year deals on those players. I think the draft will be high positional value, and I wrote today a little bit about that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And just fine, we'll just tease the rest of the show. There's some trades out there too. We're going to talk about all that right after this break. How about that?
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to. And I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust. And I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible. And they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
We are a month and a half away from the NFL draft. There is still time for you to go and get and pre-order your copy of the KCSN Draft Guide. It will be 300 pages of Kansas City Chiefs specific draft content, 225 plus write-ups. And all of the write-ups are about how these players fit your favorite football team, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a trade chart so you can kind of keep tabs on the draft pick trades and what the values were. Gets a look at the Chiefs. There's features that you're going to be able to read, some of the stuff that we've been kind of tracking over the last few years. All kinds of great stuff there in the KCSN Draft Guide. The link for that is in the description of the show. You pre-order it now, and then you will get the book when it releases on April 6th. Very excited about that. It is a passion project of ours here at KC Sports Network, and we would very much appreciate your support of that. If you want to purchase that, the link is in the description of the show, or you can go to gum.co/KCSN26. So appreciate everyone's support of that. And guys, I know that I know you guys don't care, but Vinny Pasquantino just hit his third home run of the day. That's pretty cool. Italy's
mute
captain and Royals legend Vinny Pasquantino just hit his third
We'll
bomb.
mute you.
It's big day here in Kansas City.
Hawk baseball one more time.
Oh, maybe later. Might sneak it in there.
Hovering. I am hovering.
We talked about it before the break. Everything that we want to talk about is we're about to go on 8 different tangents just about the rest of the show, I think. So I'll try to bring a little bit of order to the chaos here. Looking at the free agency class, and there's been a lot of signings, players falling off the board left and right. You're kind of getting close to that second tier. There's really not a ton of top targets available. I think 2 of the 40, Greg Rosenthal does a list of the top 40 free agents, and I think he said that 2 of the 40 are available. That's it. One of them is Kyler Murray, who got released 5 minutes ago.
And who's going to Minnesota?
He's going to Minnesota. And then Rasheed Walker, the Green Bay Packer tackle, still the only one that has not been signed to this point. But all that to say that first wave is kind of over, and then kind of sit in the second wave. We've seen what the Chiefs have done, what they've targeted. We know the positions that we all like to see them at least address from a baseline perspective. Matty Lane, who do you think's left that you're paying attention to for the Kansas City Chiefs in free agency?
Not a lot.
I saw you're writing an article about this too, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. I
saw your draft.
Actually, a couple guys had to get removed and changed. So it's getting thin out there. I said this free agency period's been weird. Day 1 felt like boom, 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 boom. Everything happened real fast. Tuesday, today, not a lot. It seemed like it was very front loaded. Things got done very quick, and then it's really died down these last 2 days because there's just not a lot left out there. There's really not.
Did you think you were getting a move today by the Chiefs? Did you feel like you were getting some kind of move?
Not once I saw last night that Nico Remigio was going to be re-signed. I was like, oh no, that's the we're done for a little bit announcement. I understand that they had to before the league new year started because he's an earned rights free agent or whatever. But as soon as I saw that announcement, as soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, oh, they're done. They got nothing left in the tank for now. They're sitting on their hands for a minute.
When's Kareem get back?
Oh no, he ain't coming back. That ain't happening.
Buddy.
It ain't happening. Nah, I don't think it's coming back.
Are you blocking on third downs?
Yeah, yeah. I'm playing left tackle and blocking on third downs. That's what I'm doing, Kent. No,
it's thin. Man.
It is thin. I am curious to see. There are some names still in the cornerback market. None of these names I'm like,
true.
Sweet. The Chiefs got they are
the
actual names.
What's the best name still out there? Not player, name.
No,
not player. Is it Afitu Melifonwu?
Oh, that's a good one too. It's a good one too. No,
Kader Kohu.
I just think there are some names at corner that could help round out the depth here, and that's really what's left right now. I am also very curious to see what some of these guys make. It feels like maybe a Marshawn Lattimore feeling like maybe he's going to get a little bit higher contract. And then you start looking around the league at some of these other contracts that are being signed at the cornerback position, Trent McDuffie notwithstanding. And there's not a lot of money that's getting funneled into the cornerback group.
Playable corners are going for $5 million. I mean, it was 1 year for $5 million, but there's very playable cornerbacks that are going for $5 million in a single season.
Absolutely there are. So Marshawn Lattimore, Trevon Diggs, Roger McCreary are not guys that I'm like, throwing my hands up. The Chiefs fix their secondary, but are guys that will play for this football team and probably are not going to cost a lot of money. So it feels like the corner class that's still left, the names that are still left are still kind of holding out hope that they're going to make a little bit more. They're not going to make a little bit more with this cornerback draft class, with the guys that have already come off the board. So I think that the Chiefs will bargain bin shop, but I think that there's still some people that I'm okay with. I just look at Edge is the one that I look at, and man, it's not great over there right now. There's just not a whole lot that you're really trusting. I mean, Maddie, I know you brought up Ebiketie as a guy that I think at this point we would be fine with.
Oh, I'd be thrilled. The problem is though, I'm wondering how much he's going to make, because you're looking around the league at other edge rushers that have a similar production profile where like they kind of peaked and then tailed off a little bit under a new defensive scheme, and that's Ebiketie. He didn't get like the highs weren't quite as high as Boye Mafe, so I don't think he's getting that $20 million a year. But like, I also don't think he's going to come in super cheap, because he was pretty serviceable a couple years back. And if you even go back and watch his pass rush reps this past year, when he's out there, there's juice. Like, he does offer something as a pass rusher. He's not unplayable as a run defender. So maybe he is trying to see what his market's going to be like. But yeah, Ebiketie is, I think, probably your best defensive end that's out there. It's available. Al-Qaeden Muhammad for the Lions, who just came off a double-digit sack year.
Yep.
He probably seems a little bit more spagsy, a little bit more dirty work kind of guy that's not all about speed. You can leave him out there on rundowns. Like, he's another name to keep an eye on. But honestly, there's just not a lot. There's not a lot that the Chiefs signed them and you're like, I can see that guy playing 65% of the snaps and not just being a snap eater left at the edge position. I would even see the same if you want another pass rusher on the interior, right? I know Jonathan Allen just got June 6th declared by the Minnesota Vikings as a pure DPR 3-tech. Sure, there's a little bit left. Like, he can still win some one-on-ones as a pass rusher, and he did. But I just don't know if that's getting you out of your seat at this point in time.
I think there's limited options. And Maddie, I'll ask you this, I guess, first off. If the Chiefs had signed Odafe Owa to that deal that he went for, 25 APY, how you feel?
Sure. Okay. In a vacuum, I don't mind it. I think you saw a player that got into the right system that was clearly going forward. Had 10 sacks last year, got 7.5 and essentially half this year once he got into a new system that was like using him better. I think you can see the pass rush aspect. I don't know if he plays the run competently enough for the Chiefs to maximize what he has. So I don't know if he necessarily fit for the Chiefs. But like, I think looking around the NFL right now and what these guys are making, do I think that Trey Hendrickson is going to be significantly better than him as a pure pass rusher over the life of the next 2-3 years? No. So I don't think that contract's terribly bad. Like, I think that you're catching Owa on the way up when other people are paying guys on the way down still more money than him, right? So I don't know. Up in the air.
We can take it down to Boye Mafe. $20 million or Boye Mafe.
Yeah. Same. It's the same thing. I wouldn't be mad at it. I think he fits a little better. He's a little better versus the run. He does not have the same pass rush chops. I watched him leading up to it. I honestly came away like, okay. I kind of get why the Seahawks were phasing him out as one of their key like rushers. I actually thought Derek Hall was a better rusher for them, but I get it. I still get where you're coming from with that. I think you get down to like the Joseph Osai number is about where I'm like, okay, why that's the one you probably should have been in on, right? That's the one that made a lot of sense to be on if you want to bet on some upside. Even Kingsley and Igbare going for $10 million. It's a 1-year deal, but for $10 million, that's fine. There's nothing. I have nothing against that whatsoever. So like, I think there were some defensive ends that were available that would have been at a fine to fair price.
And to be fair, Kingsley's not a long-term play, right? Like, we're talking about the vision for this. Like, Kingsley's a 1-year deal. I think I understand, like, you're asking who should they sign. I know, and you're having I guess you're arguing with people on the socials about that. But I think they're I don't know how many players the Chiefs truly are in on with the salary situation that they're in. And like, I think that's one thing that isn't really what. It's not. Doesn't seem like the Chiefs really have as much money as we think they do right now, right? And like, it's very vague what they're at, because right now they're at $21 million in cap space, and they need 10. I wrote about this on the KCSN site today. They need $10 million to sign their draft class in cap space. Just in cap space, they need $10 million. Travis Kelce, we believe, cost them $12 million against the 2026 cap. Last I checked, that's $22 million. Okay, they've made several multi-year deals, which are going to lower the cap hits for Tonga and Thornton and and Kenneth Walker. But it's probably going to account for what? Somewhere between 10, 15, $20 million in cap space that they're going to need to find at some point here. Looking to try to add one of these top shelf deals, I don't know if was truly in the cards, right? I don't know how serious they were on Boye Mafe. I mean, the cap hit for Boye is probably going to run what? Somewhere between, $8 million somewhere around there for his first year, something along those lines. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like we're talking about all these moves and trying to get an idea for the vision. And I think the vision might just be we're not going to be able to do all that much. We're not going to do as much as you think we're going to be able to do, and we are pushing the draft capital game here. This is what we're going to focus on. This is where we're going to try to get better, is nailing 2 first-round picks and 3 top 40 picks with high positional value players. That kind of feels like the move here. And I guess that is kind of, I guess, what we were going to talk about next. Unless you have something more about who's left, we can maybe just jump into that. But unless you guys have more about who's left.
I'm going to throw out there that I would be okay with an AJ Epinesa level
Same.
1 year signing right now.
Gross.
I don't.
Let's go, Craig. I
disgusted.
love outnumbering Maddie. It's so
I
good.
am disgusted.
I don't
Just bring
love
back
the
Mike
player.
Dana.
No, I mean, but that's what I was getting ready to
I
say.
want
don't
long
love-
Mike Dana. His name is AJ Epinesa.
Pause. I don't love AJ Epinesa, the player. It's very clear that they're not okay with Mike Dana being a rotational guy for them anymore at this point. Cue them signing him for a vet minimum deal later tonight. So I think it's one of those, he just brings a little different element to the game. You're buying low on that guy on a 1 year deal, and he plays last year's Ashton Gelati role. So you basically move Ashton Gelati up the depth chart 1 spot. You are very clearly signaling to the rest of the league, we are going to take an edge rusher early in this draft that we want to contribute. He is now your DE4. I'm fine with AJ Epinesa as DE4. So yeah.
Gross. I just have a couple of names. This'll please Kent. Fred Johnson, the swing tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kent is desperate to add more tackles into the fray. I don't mind Fred Johnson. He's still young enough that he was the Eagles' preferred swing tackle. Wasn't great when he's had to fill in as a starter for them, but he wasn't terrible either. So you bring him to a new system and just kind of see what shakes out. The worst case scenario, you could maybe have somebody in case Simmons gets injured again next year, or in case Jalen Moore gets injured or can't play. So I think I would love to see them sign a very competent swing tackle versus going into the draft. So I have to sit there and watch mock drafts take right tackle after right tackle, sometimes left tackle at pick 9. So that would be a fun one. I know a lot of people are on a Cam Jordan thing and that. Sure, Cam Jordan can come hang out, but
Cam Jordan signed a deal to return to New Orleans today.
Oh, did he?
Did he?
Yeah.
No, I missed that.
I
one
hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was going to ask though, did anybody
check.
watch Cam Jordan? Because he had sacks. Wasn't good. He wasn't a good football player. He got sacks because the way the game played out. Chase Young made that entire thing work for them. So I don't know. There's not a lot out there in free agency right now. I think
I might have got
quarterback.
I might have got boys.
The cornerback spot that Craig pointed out, I think, is a good place to look. The one guy, if I could choose one person for them to sign that's still available, it would be Nate Hobbs, the corner that Green Bay cut. I liked him better playing in the slot with the Las Vegas Raiders. It got him a pretty good little run there with the Packers, and they tried to move him outside, and it didn't go well. And now he is released. So he won't count against the comp pick formula. Once again, you're welcome, Kent. And then you can move him back into the slot, and you can get a very athletic, willing run defending, willing tackling corner in Nate Hobbs there. And you're looking around this Chiefs defense, the secondary that can't cover currently, and be like, he adds a little bit more versatility to the list. And now again, we don't have to have a cornerback go in the first 2 picks. He's the one guy that I think out there could make a pretty good splash.
No, I like that one. And, I just couldn't bring him up because then I would have to say that he was a tier 1 CBAT. That it's required if I bring him up. So because I didn't have to say that, even though I did.
Glad you did, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, I did got bad. I thought I saw Cam Jordan signed another deal with the Saints to stay there, but that did not happen. I apologize for that. So I didn't know where to sneak this in. I don't want to sneak it into the Brian Thomas Jr. conversation that we're gonna have in a little bit there. But you're talking about who's left, and yeah, like the tier 1 of free agency has kind of been exhausted. I don't know. I think the Kayvon Thibodeau conversation is at least a little bit interesting, right? And we don't have to go all the way in on that one today. Maybe that can be Monday's lab. Maybe that's what the title of the show will be on Monday. We'll see. But he might be traded by then. I still think that's probably a multi-year extension if you're trying to get that one done, and I don't know where he sits on that. I don't. Again, that's a $15 million cap hit. I'm telling you what, guys. I'm trying to figure out where they're going to find the $15 million in extra cap space they need. What are they doing to? Because it sounds like they're keeping Tranquil or holding Tranquil at least. Where's the $15-20 million in cap space they need for the rest of their offseason to complete what they've done to this point?
George Karlaftis.
Okay.
Creed Humphrey extension.
The Creed one gets tricky now though with the Linderbaum deal because if you extend him, you have to give him a substantial raise.
We do. Hey, do you want to hear a Creed take? I can save it until after Kent. You had something that you were trying to dive in here.
No, we're good. It was more. I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with to get to all this cap space because all off season, everyone goes on over the cap and they play with the calculator and say he's gone and he is no longer a Chief and we're trading this and we are restructuring this. But now it's getting real and it's silence on some of these things, right? And it's weird the timing at which they didn't go out and restructure everybody under the sun, before free agency. They didn't show it all. We're sitting here the start of the league year, and I don't even think they technically have the cap space to fit in all the deals that they've done to this point. And so that's what's just kind of throwing me off a little bit. It's where's the mystery here? Why is there mystery? What's going on? Who's getting restructured? Who's doing what? Is Drew cut? Is he staying? I think I heard Nate say that I think they're planning on keeping Drew Tranquil. So it's I don't know. It's not I'm not asking you guys to go through all that. You guys have given your opinions, but that's just, they got work to do still. They legitimately have a lot of work to do just to get the cap space. It's a couple of things they probably have more time than others. If they're planning on, restructuring one of these guys to get cap compliant for the draft, right? To have enough money, they have until July to do that. They could delay the signing, so maybe there's a restructure or an extension for Creed that they get done or something like that. But I don't know. It seems a little open-ended still. That's just kind of interesting to me at this point. Anyways, what were you going to say, Craig?
I was just going to my take that I've been cooking for a little while is that Creed Humphrey is to centers what Fred Warner is to linebackers. There's a center that matters. And he's been the best center in the league. Jason Kelsey was kind of, was there 1-2 with him for a little while. Frank Ragnow had some good years, but there's not a whole crop of centers that are going to matter, and he does. Linderbaum does not matter in the way that Creed does. Now, granted, the Raiders have to spend money. They have to hit the salary cap floor. I get why they spent the amount of money that they did, but it feels like when Roquan Smith got the bag. Yeah, Roquan was good, but he still wasn't Fred at the time. And when I saw that contract come through, my immediate reaction was, it is sooner rather than later that the Chiefs are going to pay Creed Humphrey as the best center in the league again, and then nobody's going to come around and try and pay another center over the top of him again. Everybody's making fun of the Linderbaum deal, and everybody's making fun of it because they're saying, look at how much more he's getting paid than Creed. It's not the rest of the center class. It's just Creed that they're talking about there.
I'm going to give you a fun Creed Humphrey contract anecdote. The APY, I believe, on Tyler Linderbaum's new deal is $27 million APY average, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Do you know, did I send this to the group chat? I don't. Do you know the lowest or the highest cap hit in Creed Humphrey's contract?
I don't. You didn't send this to the group chat.
It's under $22 million is the highest cap hit for Creed Humphrey's contract. It is, I believe it's 21.6 for the last 2 years of the deal. There is a $5.4 million gap between the highest cap hit that Creed Humphrey will have on his extension and what Tyler Linderbaum's average is.
Yeah.
Absurd. How do you okay, wow. You sure you're extending them? You sure?
That's
you're
what I mean.
Up,
they threw a wrench into it.
You're ripping it up?
We're before this deal. I don't know. I'm not worried about the cap situation. I think that's pretty easily handled.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I'm fascinated on how they're going to do it is all. That's all. I'm more curious on what they're trying to do.
I will circle back to my beginning point. If they move Chris Jones money around and restructure him, to what the hell are you guys doing? What is the plan here?
That goes against everything they're doing this offseason.
Like, what are we doing? Okay, the only thing I have my eyes on is if Chris Jones gets restructured or not, because that does not align with anything else, which I'm already on the fence about. I take that back. They have a plan. I just think this plane's really hard to land what they're going for. You said it a second ago, Kent. They're kind of planning on hitting at pick 9 and 29 and 40. That's a tough needle to thread, right? The way they've left themselves right now, that's a tough, and like they don't need to hit at nose guard. They don't need to hit at running back or safety. They need to hit wide receiver, defensive end,
cornerback.
Those difficult positions to find is what they have to hit on. So it's just, they set themselves up. I get how they set themselves up. It's just, they left themselves a narrow landing path. That said, for your draft implications, do you think this means that they are even less likely to take a non-premium position at 9 now? That their free agency was essentially spent chasing lower valued positions? Could you see them coming away at pick 9 going, our biggest things that we did this year at the end of the round 1 of the draft, I guess they have another pick now, but like, we signed a running back, we signed a nose tackle, we signed a safety, and we drafted a safety, or we drafted an off-ball linebacker. Do you think that's in play at pick 9 still?
Craig, you can go first.
No, absolutely not. No, they're telling you that they're filling all of the, I don't want to call them non-important, but the non-premium positions in that. And I do think it's because where they sit at pick 9, I think that they probably like who's there from an edge perspective. They might have the first choice at the best corner in the draft. This draft has a lot of depth at corner. So I'm more kind of setting that one aside. Not that they can't consider that position, but I think that they've got the opportunity to take a shot at some guys later that can contribute. And it's Dave Merritt. He's really good at developing guys. But I think they feel good about defensive end early in the first round, whether that be at pick 9 or pick 29. I feel like they think they can get a guy that contribute. Wide receiver is the one that I'm really, really curious about. Yeah, it's another good wide receiver draft. You now have a new wide receivers coach, but it is one of those that after you don't have the elite high ceiling, super awesome wide receiver. There's guys that I really like, but not guys that I'm going to be like, well, that's your wide receiver 1 by a mile. He's a slam dunk pick at pick 9, or, there's 2 or 3 of them in the draft. Like there's not those guys in this draft. I lean more towards, from a draft implication standpoint, the defensive end thing. So Kent, I'm glad you brought up Kayvon Thibodeau. I'll do this real quick and then I'll throw it over to you. If they sign Kayvon Thibodeau and they are going to try and extend him, I think that you are saying your 2 edges that you are moving forward with are George Karlaftis and Kayvon Thibodeau. And I don't know that the Kansas City Chiefs want to do that right now. I don't know that they're not looking at pick 9 and saying, give me an edge on a rookie deal, granted a top 10 rookie deal, but a rookie deal that we really like here over a guy that not crashed out, but didn't live up to the hype. And now we're going to have to pay him $25 million a year. We would rather stick at pick 9. So that's my Thibodeau take. Not that I'm against
do you have to extend Thibodeau if it's for a 4th or 5th round pick?
Oh, not for a 5th, but
you have to fit him under the cap. You have to fit him under the cap. That's the problem.
You got to make moves. Yeah.
You're not worried about that part?
They can restructure George Karlaftis with like minimal implications. They can restructure Trey Smith. They can restructure or extend Creed. We just talked about that more expensive. But like they have things that they can do if they need to fit that $15 million or whatever his, like single year, club option contract is. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you have to extend for a day 3 pick. And I'm looking at Rashawn Gary. It's probably like, I don't think you can get more than Rashawn Gary on an expiring deal. Like, age is a little bit less of a factor on that expiring deal. So is he going to get more than Rashawn Gary, who is still probably a better player than him, or at least equivalent? So like, that's why I'm thinking like 4th or 5th round pick. I don't know if you have to extend him at that point.
Yeah. If you can fit it, great. Do that. I think there's a path. I wrote about it a little bit today because it does feel like the Chiefs are saving the premium positions for their 3 top 40 selections. I think there's a really clear path. I don't know if they're going to follow this, and I think Ruben Bain would blow the whole thing up for me if he's just available to do it. Don't worry about it. I think he's like the only edge I'd do it for at 9, though. I think the most logical path and the best path as you're sitting here looking at the draft, getting that tier 1 of wide receivers at pick 9, Cardinal Tate, Mekhi Lemon, edge at 29, maybe a small trade up if you need it, if the run starts a little bit earlier. You can go get Zion Young, TJ Parker, Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk would be fun. In the 20s. And then at 40, taking whatever corner fell. I think that's a path to. I think there's pockets. If you're looking at the pockets of the draft and you're looking at like the 3 very glaringly obvious needs in this draft, that's the route to do it. I don't love the pocket of wide receivers outside of the top 3. Like it's one thing when we're all looking at the draft and going, yeah, man, Omar Cooper would be, at 40. No, it sounds like Omar Cooper's going at 29 if you want him. I think I'd rather just, as much as I love Ruben Bain, I think the ideal scenario, and maybe Bain can just go off the board before the Chiefs pick at 9 so I don't have to stress about it. But I think I want my draft to start with Cardinal Tate or Mekhi Lemon. And then that pick 29 and 40 is where I want the edge and the cornerbacks to go. I think
hates defense.
A little bit. I think that's just the best, the cleanest path for this team to leverage the pockets of the draft. That's what it feels like to me. I'll let you talk about that. I do have an intrusive thought afterwards too. But what do you? Disagree? Agree? I know Craig wants an edge. Maddie, what do you think?
Me? Oh, I'm 100% with you. I pick 9. It would be really difficult for me not to take Ruben Bain. I would say that straight up. If I'm sitting there in the war room at pick 9 and he's available, I want to take him. But if you game this out, there's a significant gap in me in getting Mekhi Lemon and Keldrick Falk than there is Ruben Bain and insert whatever random end of round 1 wide receiver you want. That's where the issue comes in. I know Craig really likes Ruben Bain, and like he's gonna wants to hit both of us right now through the computer screen.
I love Ruben Bain too, by the way.
But the difference is I don't want to watch Denzel Boston play football for the Chiefs. I don't trust Omar
Clip that,
Cooper.
Springer.
I don't have trust that Omar Cooper is going to be even as good as Rashee Rice, and I'm aiming for above that, right? Like I think I can get a better edge at 29 than I can get wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I think if you don't go with one of the top 3 wide receivers, you're better off just waiting till 40, and that still scares me because I don't have any trust in Rashee Rice during the year or beyond this year. I think Xavier Worthy is still a complete up in the air thing. So like, I just don't think there's good wide receivers outside the top 3. That's where my push. That's where my only thing is. Now, again, if I'm in the warm up pick 9 and Ruben Bain and that unlined up hair with the widow's peak and the unk fit are looking at me, I'm going to want to take him. I'm going to need one of the nerds when we go through all of the scenarios and be like, no, you said this is a better scenario. Take the wide receiver, but I'm still going to want to take the unk at 9.
I'm taking the unk. I just am. I'm taking the unk. I get it. It's all logical, completely logical. I believe in the floor of this offense as it currently stands without adding any more players. And yes, I realize how dog shit the wide receiver room could get in a hurry, especially if there's any consequence for Rashee Rice that they have to suffer. This is I look at this defense right now, and I'm not sure how they stop anybody. Legitimately, I'm not sure how they stop anybody.
I do. Steve Spagnuolo.
He said that
Wonder
last
Dave
Worker.
Barrett.
Dave Barrett.
Dave Barrett, go.
Cool. Let's spend all of our day 3 picks on defensive linemen and corners, and let's just pray. I just look at this defense and how bad it could get. They watched their entire set. They watched their blue chip walk out the door. Their young blue chip walk out the door. They let the rest of the secondary walk out. They packed his bags. They did. They packed his bags, and they said, enjoy that. They packed all but one bag. The Rams gave him that other bag. It was I get the moves, but Keldrick Falk on this defense does not change my opinion of whether or not this defense is going to be good. Keldrick Falk could be a fine player for them. They need blue chippers on this defense right now, and they do not have anybody. And yes, I'm including Chris Jones, who is getting older, very good, but that's not a guy that you're like, boy, we feel really good about our defense moving forward. Oh, Chris is about to leave. George is a good player, and I'm happy that he's under contract. George is not the guy that everybody around the league is looking at and going, wow, he's really going to wreck our game plan today. No, it's not that kind of guy. And it just feels like the fact that they haven't spent on some of these premium positions while just letting them leave in Kansas City is a signifier that they are going to spend on them in the draft this year.
The best defense is a good offense, Craig.
I know that you believe that, but I don't.
Score 100. Carnell Tate mossing the AFC West. Mossing Pat Surtain. Imagine.
Okay.
We can all have a dream. We don't need to comment on it. The intrusive thought is, the tackle smoke is just exhausting, and it makes me ill. It makes me ill, but everyone keeps doing it. Francis Mauigoa is now mocked by Todd McShay and Field Yates. And Field Yates has some KC connections, and it terrifies me. It makes me ill. That's the intrusive thought, because that just blows everything else up that we just talked about. We're sitting here talking about the 3 biggest needs on this team, and if there really is a need for tackle bigger than we all think it is on the outside looking in, what if Todd McShay took Francis Mauigoa before Ruben Bain, and that made me sick. Let's talk about one more trade before we get out of here, though. We did title this show around it. Thank you for 57 minutes of us talking about everything else except for the thumbnail of this show. Brian Thomas Jr. is believed to be available from the Jacksonville Jaguars for a second-round pick. Has not assimilated as well into Liam Cohen's offense as the rest of the pass catchers in Jacksonville have. The Jaguars acquired Jacoby Myers midseason and has an outstanding year with them, gets an extension there in a vacuum, not like for like, but you kind of see where this thing is going a little bit. Those pass catchers, it feels like Brian Thomas Jr. might be on the outside looking in. Diane Orsini reports that he could be available for a second-round pick. Craig Stout, would you give up pick 40 for Brian Thomas Jr. to come to Kansas City?
Wouldn't even think twice. Yes, absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of people that look at Brian Thomas Jr. and go, no, he's not worth that. Oh, no, did you watch him play last year? He's a go ball hitch merchant, just runs crossers, doesn't operate in the middle of the field, didn't play well. He was hurt last year. Do you guys remember, this is according to Matt Harmon's reception perception, one of the few guys that I believe. When he says something about wide receivers, I believe it. Do you guys realize that Brian Thomas Jr. beat press and man coverage at an 80% clip his rookie year when he was healthy? It doesn't matter what routes you're running. If you're beating press man at that clip, you are better than anybody that you are getting at pick 40. We love the wide receivers class. We love some of these guys that can be had. Casey Concepcion is not going to play at the level that Brian Thomas Jr. is going to play at. Full stop, period. We don't need to have a conversation. There is not a wide receiver that is going to play on a rookie deal. Brian Thomas Jr. still has 2 cheap years, cheap relative, he got picked pretty high in the draft, and a rookie option still left on his contract. And everybody just wants to point to last year, Jacoby Myers coming in, the fact that they drafted Travis Hunter over him a little bit. It's a brand new organization. Liam Cohen was there. He said, listen, we're going to add all these guys. And the way that they used Brian Thomas Jr. was very similar to how he was used in his rookie year, but he was significantly less effective as a player right now. Brian Thomas Jr., all the things that we joke about with Tyquan Thornton, he's just going to run go balls and slants and be this big dude that's going to do all of this. Guess who does it so much better than Tyquan Thornton? It's Brian Thomas Jr. And I also look at the fact that last year, Liam Cohen brought in his whole new staff. He's a guy that they really kind of cleaned house, as new coaches want to do there. And they brought in some guys that frankly did not really produce. They brought in the Las Vegas, at the time, Oakland Raiders wide receivers coach, and he had been there for a very long time. Hadn't really developed anybody over there. Brian Thomas Jr.'s rookie year, and this is the part that I love from a full Chiefs connection here. Brian Thomas Jr.'s rookie year. Do you guys know who his wide receivers coach was under Doug Peterson? It was 1 year. It was Chad Hall. Chad Hall, who Andy Reid brought in. Chad Hall, who played in Philadelphia under him. Chad Hall, who followed Andy Reid to Kansas City when he came here in 2013. Chad Hall, who developed multiple wide receivers in his time in the league, was actually a pretty good wide receivers coach. Has bounced around a little bit there. His last year was Brian Thomas's rookie year, and what he was able to do was not a guy that was known for beating press at the time, but what he was able to do in his rookie year, he credited to Chad Hall. There is a direct line of communication between Andy Reid and the wide receivers coach that got the best year out of him, that hit the ground running in his rookie year. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, if pick 40 is what it takes to do it, make this move, because all this conversation about wide receiver, adding a guy, trying to bring in another guy to the equation, he moves the needle. He can be a true X wide receiver for this offense and legitimately moves the needle. And if it just costs pick 40 for 2 years of low cost control and a 5th year option coming up here, that is a no-brainer slam dunk move for me.
I mean, I think pick 40 is worth it. I'm not as gung-ho as Craig is, because I don't think the things that Brian Thomas Jr. struggles with is the things he's going to be asked to do in Kansas City. I don't doubt that he can run vertical. I don't know about the zone beating. I don't know about the ability to play over the middle of the field. The stuff that the entire offense is built around is what Brian Thomas Jr. was bad at last year, that kind of got him benched, or not benched, but like lost reps. Like, I know he was hurt, but when he came back, they still trusted other people. They wanted to go to other guys. So I get it. The talent's worth the pick. It's just, I do have some, like, I would really want to have the approval of Andy Reid and Bieniemy and everybody else. You obviously always would, but like, I don't know. I have a few more reservations. Brian Thomas Jr. throughout the past, 6 years now, has 2 productive years at wide receiver, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Everything else has been not productive. The talent's crazy. It's just the way this Chiefs offense is run, he's going to be either asked to be Tyquan Thornton on steroids, or he's going to be asked to do stuff that he struggled with mightily this past year. And that's where my slight hesitation comes back. But for pick 40, I think that, I would still take the risk. It's just, I see more gray area, I think, than Craig does with it. Oh, he's big muted. He must have been thinking about baseball.
He must have been. you saw him thinking about it, and you just reached over and muted him.
I was looking at the trade chart. See what Jacksonville has.
Not a lot, right? Because they traded up for Hunter.
They have volume. They have 9 picks, but their draft doesn't start until pick 56. Yeah. And if I'll get there in a second too. I think one of the other pushbacks I have when it comes to Brian Thomas Jr. is, what have we been talking about all offseason? What the Chiefs need at receiver, not archetype, but just like they need reliability. They need a reliable target for 2027 and beyond. Brian Thomas was had one of the worst drop rates in football last year. I mean, he dropped a lot of passes. He dropped a lot of passes. Some of the most in the National Football League. I don't think you can catch the ball hurt last night, unless his hands fell off. I don't think he was dealing with it.
Well,
if his hands fell off, I'm only spending pick 74. I'm just being honest here.
I think Brian Thomas Jr. would fail the physical if that happened.
They should get the trade agreement process first and then fail the physical and retract it.
I just think that's the thing that gives me a little bit of pause. Now, I want to look at, okay, they're talking about a second-round pick. Because, if you're – Maddie, the other thing is, if you go grab Brian Thomas Jr., that's a good long-term play because he's super cheap the next 2 seasons. That's a very cost-effective move to go acquire a guy like that. So, I get the appeal of that and overlap between Rasheed and Travis. And, I get the appeal. I could see, if you look in the Chiefs pick 40, Cleveland probably not in on him, I would imagine. Maybe not. Houston, no.
Cleveland should be.
You think Cleveland should? Yeah, maybe Cleveland would.
Cleveland's just one of those teams that collects all those types of wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy's still there. The Drop Brothers. What are we doing?
Oh, I was just thinking more.
They already have Brian Thomas Jr. there.
I was just thinking more of they theoretically will use they'll probably have an offense that highlights his skill set a little bit more. But also, we'll see what Todd Monken does without Lamar Jackson. I'm going all the way back to his Tampa days to get to that concept. So
yeah, that's all. Houston, no. Giants, maybe. Raiders, yeah. Titans, they wouldn't trade with the Jags. I don't think the Jags wouldn't do that.
No.
Cardinals, no. Jets, maybe. I'm looking at 3 teams ahead of the Chiefs that could give up a second-round pick above them. If you want to give up pick 40, then if the Chiefs feel really good about Reuben Bain being there at 9 and they grab Brian Thomas Jr. at 40 and then they can start the run on those corners at the end of round 1, you can talk me into that. But I do have more hesitations than Craig. Craig's full send. I'm
full send at pick 40. We keep doing this dance where we're if we figure out a way to get these guys maybe in this wide receiver class, we can get a contributor lady. Yeah.
I think I'm trying to get one of Jacksonville's 5th round picks back with pick.
Absolutely.
I said I was good with pick 40. I had more concerns and you had not enough to say no. Sure. I said I'm down for pick 40, not enough to say no. I think that everybody sees the highs of what they wanted to in Brian Thomas last year. And not you in particular, but just people see the highs of what he did last year. Oh no, he's immediately the best player, the best wide receiver the Chiefs have. And here's this X and man beat him. That's cool. It's a West Coast offense though. They're going to be getting a lot of zone. They need someone to beat the zone as well. And I'm not saying Brian Thomas has to be that. You can trade pick 40 and he does not have to be that for it to work. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I see some areas where you're I can see how the Chiefs maybe wouldn't be in love with that type of wide receiver. I guess is ultimately what it comes down to.
Sure. No, and I do understand that. I also think the Chiefs are going to make a course correction with man beating at some point this year. They could not beat man to save their life, to the point where teams went, oh, we don't base out of man, but against the Chiefs, guess what we're doing this week? It was to the point. And yeah, to your point, Maddie, yes, West Coast offense, you should see more zone. Absolutely should see more zone. He's not good against zone whatsoever. They need guys that can beat man. They don't have those guys. They just don't have any of them. Tyquan Thornton re-signing does not fix that. Does Makai Lemon? Sure. Yeah, I'm happy with that. But get me a guy that can beat man at pick 40, free up those other 2 picks. That's more of what I'm looking at. If you are not going to be able to grab that early wide receiver, there's a big fall off after that. Like you guys just talked about, Brian Thomas Jr. at pick 40 is well above any of those other guys that you are going to be drafting for the next 3 years.
There's some paths if you address wide receivers significantly with Thomas, because you can go edge at 9 or corner at 9, or if they really are interested in tackle, you could go tackle at 9, you could go edge at 29, you could go Brian Thomas Jr. at 40, and then take a corner at 74. You know, Dave Merritt will figure it out.
Trading Dukes, baby.
Hear me out. Trade for Brian Thomas, then draft Makai Lemon, and then at pick 29, consider drafting Kenyon Sadiq, and just score 100. Make Craig rip out his beard. Can't rip out his hair.
Hey, you draft a corner at 74.
Me and Kenneth Walker.
You draft an edge at 74. You draft a corner at 104, and you tell Dave Merritt to figure it out. Again. This is do a quick mock, you cowards. Oh, that's from Derek. Oh,
we're so late to the show now.
Let's do it like Monday. We'll do another. We'll do another one on Monday. I think we kind of just did one. We just did a speed mock. I don't know. I'm more convinced in the idea of Brian Thomas Jr. than I was walking into this show. I'll say that, Craig.
Okay. There you go.
Andy's got Chad Hull. He's got his number. I'm just saying, if that move happens, that is a very contributing factor to this equation, and it could happen in April. I was looking up when the Orlando Brown Jr. trade occurred, when we were all standing around going, who the hell is going to play tackle for the Chiefs? As the last time that we had one of those late.
I'd rather save it for draft day, like the day of the draft. And if you don't get a wide receiver that you like, if it plays out to where you get a Reuben Bain at 9, or you get, if you love Rod McCoy's medicals and you take it, just whatever, if it leads you to non-wide receiver at 9, and then you want to go this route. And this isn't to say that Carnell Tate or Makai Lemon are definitely better players than Brian Thomas Jr. I could see wanting to see if I could have them at 9 before trading for Brian Thomas Jr. with pick 40, and just seeing how that plays out. It's like that could even be a during the draft trade, a la AJ Brown. He was traded during the draft, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you want to, I'm not condoning that the Chiefs need to do this with Brian Thomas Jr. tomorrow. I'm fine waiting that out.
Well, we'll keep an eye on BTJ Watch here. At KC Sports Network. The Blazer will be out. The Breaking News team will be back if Brian Thomas Jr. is acquired by the Kansas City Chiefs. You bet we'll be there for it. But that is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
BTJ Watch.